Hello, everybody, and welcome to OpenExO Live, the first OpenExO Live for 2021. So first of all, just a happy new year to everybody, wherever you are watching this. And this week, we have Carol Wong with us, who comes all the way from Malaysia. And you can see on screen that we have some awesome people coming up in the next few weeks. And before I get Carol up to speak to us, I wanted to just share a bit of a story. I met Carol in person for the first time in November 2019 when I was in Kuala Lumpur speaking at a few events, and it was an amazing experience. I often say to people, I travel a lot. I'm calling from Guadalajara, and I said that wrong. Sorry to all the Mexicans, butchered that. Calling from Mexico, and I always say to people that other than Cape Town, which I love, Kuala Lumpur is one of my favorite cities. So, Carol, it is a pleasure to have you. Good morning to you. How are you doing this morning?
Good. Thank you very much, Kevin. And I also would like to take this opportunity to wish everyone a very happy new year, and wish all your things that you could not do in last year, you will be able to achieve whatever that you wish to achieve this year. Thank you. I'm good. Thank you very much, Kevin.
Great. So Carol, I always start by asking people a question, which is, can you just tell us how you about yourself, first of all, a bit of your background, and then how you came to join the OpenExO community?
Okay, maybe first let me introduce myself. I started my career in consulting, for after over 23 years in Ernst & Young. I decided to opt to retire as a partner, early retirement, in my mid-40s. And I joined a government agency which was responsible for the innovation policy implementation. So during that time, I was fortunate that I have been given the opportunity to look into innovation program. Innovation as in education, from an education perspective. So I helped in developing, I was part of the team, developed the education transformation blueprint for Malaysian government. And I have also helped the government to put up a business case, and eventually we implemented international baccalaureate standards for our secondary school education. We have piloted in 10 schools, and I believe majority of them have already been certified as IB school. And then during that time, I was asked to look into setting up the first design thinking school for the government. And that during the launch of the school, we were asked to look into other programs available. That's when I reached out to Salim Ismail. At that time, he was with Singularity University, and I invited him to Malaysia back in 2012 in August, where he participated in the launch of the innovation program education school, which was known as Genovasi. They have changed the name now. So during that time, Salim was one of the international advisory panel members. Within the members, we have someone represented from Stanford University. We also have a representative from Institute of Future, And then, of course, we also have representatives from the Millennial Project, and also another renowned person in Malaysia as part of the advisory panel. Then after that, I left the agency early 2016, and I continued to do work around design thinking. Last year, not last year, is it last year? Yeah, yeah, I think it's 2019. Yeah. So that was the first time I reached out to Salim in 2012. But throughout the period, I was fortunate to stay connected with Dr. Clarence Tan, who is also one of the OpenExO community member, and also a founding member, if I'm not wrong. So he reached out to me throughout, since Salim was here, like 2012, throughout the period when I was in Genovasi. He has continued to promote exponential organization in 2014. In fact, I was aware of EXO back then. And Dr. Clarence has came to Malaysia a number of times to promote EXO. And unfortunately, I did not have the opportunity to learn more until I joined a masterclass together with my client in 2017 in about EXO. That's when I knew more about EXO. We bought the book and then we learned together. I learned together with the client. Then fast forward to 2019, I reached out to Salim to look into how he can participate in maybe an event that I wanted to organize. That's when Salim introduced me to join OpenExO. And also that was the time I met Kevin virtually. He wrote to me to join the platform. And I joined a number of programs available, include EXO Consultant Certification, EXO Sprint Certification, Coach Certification, and then it's history. And I have been participating in a number of activities organized by Kevin and the team, and also met a lot of awesome people virtually. So Kevin is the only person I met in person. And when Salim was here in Malaysia, I did not meet him in person because I went off for holiday, and I asked my colleague to receive him. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And Carol, am I right in saying that when you did your coach certification, you were in a team that was based in sort of Europe? So most of your calls were late at night, right? But you strive.
Absolutely, yes. In fact, Kevin, you brought up a point. When I was doing the coach certification, so I was in the team is the European time. So I have been throughout the 6 weeks, it has been quite challenging because I also have to do my day job, running workshops and seeing my clients, and then also a lot of assignment and all that. In fact, I did not have enough sleep during that time.
Absolutely. And so that experience and other experiences within the OpenExO community, how would you say that you've sort of benefited from that?
Very good question. Firstly is after attending all the certification courses, I certainly learned a lot, of course, from the coaches, and also I've also learned a lot from my fellow students, my fellow coaches.
Yeah.
And I have continued to stay in touch with them. So whenever I need help, I would also reach out to them for help. And I find that was very beneficial. In fact, because I am now on the OpenExO platform, whenever my client needs certain expertise or help, I am able to tap on the network and try to find the people to get them connected with the client. So I thought that is very, very good, And most important is that OpenExO, I think last year, because of COVID-19, you all have started to launch EXO World live event, where I found it very beneficial as well because I was able to like attend conferences, so to speak, although it was during a lockdown period, even for myself in Malaysia. So I find that, given that although I am on my own, so to speak, as an entrepreneur running my own training and advisory services, I never felt lonely, alone, so to speak. I never felt that I was like limited in terms of my network or the resources made available to me. Because I always tell the client, even though Innothing Advisory is a Malaysia, a small organization with me predominantly with a number of business associates, I always tell the client that I have access to a global network of expertise, and
Yeah.
that really helps. And
Yeah.
because I came from a large consulting firm, Ernst and Young, so when you go for a bid or to explain your expertise and your credential, I do not have a big firm behind me, unlike in the past. But I kept assuring the client that this is the network. And I also take the opportunity to promote exponential organization for sure, and also explain, how big the network is in terms of the ecosystem, in terms of the people expertise that we can tap on. That
Absolutely.
really helps.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that you mentioned in your intro, Carol, was the fact that you helped set up a design thinking, in Malaysia from a government point of view, and we have a number of people in our community who are all sort of design thinking practitioners. How do you fit that design thinking in with the EXO model?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, like you say, especially during the classes, certification classes, I have also met a number of people who are also design thinking practitioners. Absolutely. And as for me, because I've been like practicing design thinking for many years, when I joined the EXO Sprint coach, I found a lot of common techniques that can apply. So I was able to use the design thinking, for example, customer interviewing techniques, the empathy interviewing techniques. I could apply that in the exponential transformation methodology, the sprint methodology, where we needed to do validation of our hypothesis. So that really helped. So in my view, design thinking practitioners would actually able to benefit a lot because they are able to apply the skills and the techniques and the experience throughout the EXO sprint.
Yeah.
Because you are not doing a design thinking, but the idea is you can use the techniques in the interviewing, in prototyping, in testing, and also synthesizing to understand the problem after listening to the to the users or after validating your hypothesis. Because part of the EXO sprint will require us to validate or invalidate our hypothesis to substantiate whether the initiative would work well or not. So all these principles or all these approach, we can actually supplement with design thinking experience and techniques to enhance I would say to enhance the gathering of information and to also gather more insights. Yeah. In addition to that, what I have done in my design thinking courses, especially when I work with client and conduct training, I always take the opportunity to introduce EXO. Simply because I feel very strongly, given that exponential technologies are growing rapidly, when we do design thinking means we are trying to solve a problem. So whenever we try to solve a problem, we need to consider ideas that we can leverage exponential technology. So that's one. So we say we always try to generate ideas that we leverage exponential technology. And also, I will always challenge the participants, when you look at the ideas, please consider whether these ideas are scalable, whether these ideas have excess abundance. Are you able to generate abundance? Because the idea is to make them realize that the ideas, if you could display some of the EXO attributes, that will actually make it work very well.
Yeah.
So that is the reason why I encourage, those who are very, very experienced in design thinking to also incorporate the exponential organization model. So that is how I have promoted design thinking for exponentials.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, you're 100% right there. It's so vital that when you're running through a design thinking process, that you are looking not only at exponential technologies, but at the attributes as a way of ensuring that when you're coming up with ideas, that they're leveraging those, right? And now, when it comes to Malaysia, we have a few community members really also looking at work with government, working with organizations. What would you say is sort of the exponential thinking? Like, how is it being adopted in Malaysia? What's it looking like at the moment?
Very good question. All right. Okay. I have also reached out to some of these members, and in fact, a number of them were introduced to OpenExO by me personally. And at least one of my client member is very, very she has a lot of passion for EXO. So every time when I talk to her, she always says, okay, are we like this, are we like implementing some of these attributes? Yeah. So that's very, very good. I think when I first introduced this topic, because last year, because of the pandemic, so I tried to organize a number of EXO free education sessions. And I also found that many Malaysians, those who have participated, would find it, first, EXO, what is it? So they don't understand, the exponential. So, so there is a need to continue to create the awareness and the thinking. But of course, I have always highlighted to the participants, whoever I interact with, I always tell them that just bear in mind, it's almost like digital transformation. Because as far as the Malaysian government concerned, we have a lot of initiative, a lot of funding, or and I would say funding and initiatives to support, especially small, medium enterprises, SMEs, to embark on their digital transformation. So I will always try to explain to the people it's quite similar to digital transformation. It's just that there is this structured approach that we encourage you to go through, and you may have your own methodology, but this actually allow you to think exponentially. In order to do things exponentially before you even embark on digital transformation, we are thinking about, so I will try to explain to them that you are not doing a digital transformation by just automation. So when this automation is very fundamental. So we are talking about transformation that will bring you to a different level. So to do that, this is what thinking exponentially means. And of course, thinking exponentially, means what? So I will try to explain to them. It's not easy. I think the challenge is, when we meet people, when we try to educate and explain, to be fair, I'm also not a technology person, but yet I have to learn and understand. But it doesn't mean that I need to do programming or coding, which I think I want to pick up. So this is something that I have to explain to them, that we need to understand the technologies and how it would impact us. So, but it doesn't mean that you need to become like a computer scientist or computer engineer or programmer. So I think that is what we need to impress on the people, because we don't want this responsibility, thinking exponentially because of use of exponential technologies, that responsibility to be pushed to technology people only. So that is not what it means.
No, absolutely. And I was actually explaining to someone the other day, they were like, how is this different from digital transformation? And, and I said, well, let's say you work in a factory and it has a process for different departments to order supplies like PPEs or something like that. And a digital transformation would be taking the paper book that you used to use and creating just an online system, right? It's now a digital transformation of exactly the same thing. But an exponential transformation would be building an algorithm that actually determines when the stuff will be needed. It looks at the history of use, and it just orders it automatically. And you get rid of the whole order process completely, much more efficient, much more exponential. And the person was like, oh, that makes so much sense. I thought they were just identical. And so I think it's, I mean, I know Yaroslav often says that digital transformation is the entry ticket into an exponential world.
Absolutely.
You can't be exponential if you're not digital.
So that's right.
It is an important part.
Yeah.
Now, I noticed on LinkedIn yesterday or today that you said that you're excited to be working on a sprint at the moment. Can you give us just a little bit? Obviously, no details because
okay.
I understand that. Sure. Can you let us know what's happening there and anything exciting that you can share?
Yeah, maybe I can share, right? I have been like I mentioned, I have a client who is very, very passionate about EXO, and she is also one of the member of the OpenExO. I introduced her to the platform. So we started this journey last year. Yeah, I think, we started this journey last year. So we started with education first, explaining to people about what EXO all about. And also, we also did a EXO survey, to understand where they are in terms of their business. Then subsequently, we decided that we need to embark on, first thing is the MTP for the organization, decided by the CEO. And then we went through a process of defining MTP for the organization. And there were a lot of, we found a lot of good insights. Because of course, in any transformation, the key challenge is organization culture challenge, the readiness of the people. From this crafting of the MTP, we found a way to get everyone to share what they really care about, especially about their values. And we found we were able to identify a lot of common values, which were surprising. Although we felt that we had a lot of challenges in a cultural change, but we were very, very pleased to find that, whatever it is, everyone somehow shared the same values. So that was the early part of the journey. Then subsequently, we decided, after defining the MTP and the cultural values, we need to continue on to work on how to get the organization to adopt EXO attributes. So I introduced, the first thing that I introduced to the team as a way to continuously measure results, we introduced OKR. Because the business itself is a technology business anyway. They are, they have their own app. So therefore, measuring OKR to measure the outcome or the results that we want to implement, that was very, very important. And then we went on we decided that we need to have a separate team to look into innovation. And I started to kick off EXO Sprint with this team. But we don't have 10 weeks to work on. So we did it over 2-3 weeks. And then we came out with, identified a number of initiatives. And then one of them we decided to work on as a core initiative that we asked. Then after we have iterated, got feedback from the business unit, we now have asked the business unit, the department to implement the core initiative. Very easy to implement, quick and easy to implement. And then I told the innovation team, the regional team, now we need to embark on a much more complex initiative, because they chose a very simple to implement. So then now we are working on a new one. So we say that we're going to start that, beginning this year. And that is how I've start another round with the same team and get them to do exploration to understand, what would, how it would, they can better improve that initiative. That initiative, the age initiative was already identified last year. but we decided that we will not work on it in detail until this year, but I needed them to go through the exploration process again to get more information relating to the initiative that they may need to refine, throw it away, or start over again. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's really great news. And wish you all the best with that. As we end this conversation, Carol, is there anything you'd like to share with those who are watching live and those who are going to watch this in time as before you go?
Okay. Thank you, Kevin, and thank you, Kevin, again for all the questions. I would like to take this opportunity to encourage those who are listening to learn more about exponential organization. And OpenExO platform is the right platform for you to learn more, because you will have the opportunity to learn from the certified instructor about what is it all about. Of course, first thing first, I would encourage you to go and get the book, the EXO, as well as the exponential transformation, and that will provide you with the opportunity to understand more. And then when you join the platform, and by the way, joining the platform is free of charge. Yeah. But it provides you with the opportunity to learn more about EXO. And I always think that OpenExO is an example of building an exponential organization. And the team is trying to democratize consulting, democratize advisory, allowing more people to have access to expertise and knowledge and experience. With that, I wish you all the best for the year, and really look forward to seeing you all on the platform. Thank you.
Perfect, Carol. Really great to have you. Great start. All the best in 2021. And of course, we'll chat to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Yes. Thank you, Kevin. Bye-bye.
So that was Carol Wong, our first community member for OpenExO Live. Thank you to everyone who joined. As Carol said, joining the community is something you can do for free. Just head over to openexo.com/community and you can do that. I also wanted to just end off just to remind people that next week we start our first certifications of the year. And so if you are interested in that, you can just head over to the link that's scrolling across the bottom of the screen and you can join those. Really exciting to get the year kicked off with that certification. Thank you everybody for joining, and we'll see you again next week.